Hey everybody, welcome back to the RGR Football channel on YouTube. My name is Daniel Harms, and as you can see, I'm not actually in my normal spot today. We are in Kansas City visiting tonight. I'm going to Jack Stack, getting the VIP treatment from the house. It's going to be pretty awesome. I'm looking forward to that. And today we are going to do another mock draft. I'm going to get a little bit crazier than I did last time. We're going to do some trades here, and we're going to do a little bit of a different strategy. We got news today that Mitch Schwartz is going to be having back surgery. He tried to get through his injury to play in the Super Bowl. It never happened. He never got to that point. So now they're going to fix what was wrong with his back. Apparently, it's a quick recovery. We don't really know if that's going to be the case or not. So for me, for this specific draft, I'm going to assume some things. I assume we let go of Sammy Watkins, Demarcus Robinson, and Mitch Schwartz is ready to start the season in 2021. So that's what we're going to do this mock draft with. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know whether that's even going to happen, but we're going to assume right now going into this year that he's healthy for right tackle, and I think they might have Niang play left, but that's an interesting option. So we don't really know about that. So left tackle is still a position that might need to be addressed in this mock draft. So let's go ahead and get started. We all know that the Chiefs are the team we're going to pick here. All 7 rounds. Yeah, we'll go normal so we can kind of talk a little bit as this goes along. So let's move this out of the way so I can do this properly. Now, as you can see out here, I've got lots of stuff going on in the background because I have been watching tons and tons of college football film. It's been out of control. So this scenario, we're only going to be trading down. I don't want to trade up at all. I think that the best move for the Chiefs would be to trade back no later than 45, maybe. That's probably the spot that I would stay at. I don't want to go any further than that, and see what we can get in some of these trades. So I don't want to trade up at all. I think that 31 is a good spot to find some players, and assuming that somebody really good falls to them at 31, there's going to be some options that they can really tend with here. And as the board's going along, it's looking pretty good for the Chiefs. So now we have some options here. Trade, get only a 7th back. Not really my kind of thing here. So 2 at 51, but we get a 4th and a 3rd, a 4th and a 5th. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to accept this. We're going to get a little bit interesting with this one because now I think we can start to stretch some of these picks. We can pick up some guys along the way. And no, I don't want to trade up anymore. So we're gonna see what happens here with the Chiefs picking at 51 and then 64 or 63. I don't remember exactly. So as we can see here, we've got some interesting guys still on the board. Offensive tackle is probably going to be a no-go in the first round. There's still going to be some good players to go get. And everyone wants to get this 51st pick. Want me to trade up for it. And so, yeah, we're not doing that. Okay, here we go. Finally at pick 51. Now, who do we have on the board? Oh, this is exactly what I was hoping for, guys. So this is really a sweet spot of the draft for me because I think the Chiefs can get a starting center in Landon Dickerson on the board right now. They have some really good, interesting options here as well. They're going to pick here. They're going to pick 63, which is 12 picks away. They're going to have some guys they can get. So I'm going to look around before I make my decision. I think that they've got some interesting options. Oweya out of Penn State is a really smart player. So there's a possibility that we take him and let one of the centers fall. Maybe the Chiefs get him at 63. But I'm more interested in immediately upgrading the center position. It's an area that you desperately need, in my opinion, to have a fully functioning offensive line. So I'm taking Landon Dickerson, and I'm not even going to think twice about it, to be honest with you. They've got more than enough talent at defensive end. And right now, I mean, I think they're going to bring back Tucker Charlton. So that's what I'm going to assume going in. So right now, I've now shored up the interior offensive line because he can play guard as well. There's more than enough time for him to get prepped to play guard. He can play center, assuming that everything comes in well with his medicals. That's what we're assuming in this pick here. Now, I see a guy that I already really like for the 63rd pick, but let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other positions that we have here. Brevin Jordan, tight end out of Miami, a really good option at 63. The Chiefs have already had a virtual meeting with him. They're very interested in him. I can totally understand wanting that backup tight end to eventually succeed Travis Kelce, but I think Kelce has at least 5 or 6 more productive years left. So I'm personally interested in Jordan because I think he's got upside to be a tight end one. He would also be a legit tight end two in this offense. So he would be able to stretch the field, the middle of the field as well as and block and all do all those things. So he's definitely an option here. But for me, assuming that Sammy Watkins, Demarcus Robinson are gone, I want to take a look more at the wide receiver position. Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of my favorite wide receivers in this draft, especially for a second round pick. He's still on the board here. Very tempting. Let's go ahead and look at some of the defensive players. This is an interesting prospect as well. You've got Dylan Moses and Chaz Surratt. Surratt's probably one of the most NFL ready players. He's very smart. He's not the most dynamic linebacker, but he's going to give you everything that you need to really get there mentally. He's got some getting off the ball issues, getting downhill. So that for me, I'm looking for more of an athletic guy to really get in at linebacker to be a backup because the Chiefs have Anthony Hitchens. They have Willie Gay as their starting linebackers next year. So I think that they're going to be waiting on linebacker. Let's look at the edge. We've got a lot of names here. Some guys that I look for later in the later rounds are still on the board here. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is the pick here, especially because the Chiefs are losing 2 wide receivers who played a lot of snaps in this offense. So let's go ahead. Let's do that. Shore up wide receiver 2. I think that he can immediately come in and be a high upside wide receiver 2. Now, obviously, you have to pick up the offense, so he's going to be waiting to get more playing time until later in the year, depending on how fast he picks everything up. And good Lord, people just want to keep trading. But I like the idea of pairing him with Tyreek Hill because you figure he's a bit bigger. He's about 6'6'1". He's got more weight on him. He can do everything that you want, stretching the field, as well as getting everything underneath. And that's really what it comes down for me as a tight end, a wide receiver 2 that can play in the middle of the field, has really good hands, can also make contested catches when he's asked to. The Chiefs obviously don't do a whole lot of that, so they're going to ask him to be more schemed open, and that's something that he does very well. Is when he gets the ball, he's very physical after the catch, and I like that aspect of his game. So now we're on the board again at 94. And I know 100% where I'm going. Jabril Cox out of LSU was still on the board. This is 100% a guy who's going to be a starter as soon as Anthony Hitchens leaves. I 100% believe he has the upside as well as the talent and everything, the mental aspect as well from a linebacker position, because you get the mental part down, everything else with his athleticism and his natural gifts will come right in and just be that. And Jabril Cox went from smaller school Division 2 / Division 1 up to LSU, and you didn't see a drop off in his production. That tells me he's a smart player. It tells me that I'm going to draft him here in the 3rd round, and I'm really going to really emphasize that linebacking core of the Chiefs and really get some guys in there that are athletes that can make plays. That's what they need at the linebacker position. The guys that can still play downhill, that have the speed to play downhill, but can also cover on the back end. They desperately needed that. So you have 3 of the linebackers in Willie Gay, Anthony Hitchens, and Jabril Cox, who I think are going to be foundation pieces, and you're going to get Gay as well as Cox going forward. Young guys who can be your nickel linebackers. They don't have to come off the field when the nickel guys come out. So that's a huge get for the Chiefs in the 3rd round. And like I said, we're not going to do any more of the trades here because I really liked picking up those 2 extra picks for going from 31 to 51 because I still think this draft works out really well for them. It's something that you can really look at and say that they've addressed more positions than I really think that they needed to, especially considering what's going on right now. All right, now the Chiefs back on the board with one of the picks they got from the 31 trade down to 51. So let's look at safety. Okay, there's one of the guys that I'm a really big fan of, and James Wiggins. We talked about him Monday on the Q&A. He's definitely a physical guy who's got the speed, he's got the range, as well as the physicality and the body type you want to see from a safety position. He can play that 3rd safety, and it's somebody that they can really look and get into this defense early. I think that's something that they really like to do a lot of. Let's see who we have at the top of the board here. Running back, tackles. there's some interesting prospects down here. I like Walker Little out of Stanford. He's got some upside to him. I'm not so sure the Chiefs are going to end up addressing tackle if I'm being completely honest with you guys, especially if Schwartz is ready to go next year. So that's an interesting concept. Maybe they take somebody later in the draft to try to get some upside for. So again, let's look here. We got some more wide receivers maybe later in the draft. There's an edge. Let's look at edge real quick. So this is an area that the Chiefs can really look to upgrade in this draft. They don't have a lot of talent at the top end in terms of guys that are going to come in and make an immediate splash, but they have guys that fit the defense. Like for example, I can't pronounce his name, but I know that this is the guy. This is the guy who's got length, he's got the weight, and he has everything that Spags looks for in a defensive end, that the Chiefs look for in defensive end. There's a guy that's also going to be on the board later, and Ellerson Smith, that actually I think I'm going to wait on. I'm going to go ahead and take Wiggins here because I think he's going to be gone. And this is a guy, like I mentioned, he can come in and he can be a third safety. He can do all the things you ask for in a box safety as well. So he's got some versatility, the physicality to play there as well. And I think that this is a really good matchup for them. So right here, the Chiefs are at a lot of sweet spot in terms of some of the depth pieces they can get on defense. They've got a pick 136 here, and then they have also got pick 144. So let's again look at edge, because I personally want Ellerson Smith. I think that that's a guy who's not only as big as a Taco Charlton, he's that tall, but he's also got the weight now and he's got the length. So he's still there on the board. I know a lot of guys have seen Rashad Weaver. I watched a bit of him against Notre Dame and some here and there. I'm not a huge fan. I know that he also was a body type fit, but I'm off on that one personally. Tight end. Some depth guys down here. Luke Farrell out of Ohio State's actually an interesting prospect. More of a receiving tight end that has downfield potential. He's definitely got better hands than a lot of the guys in the draft. But where are we going to look here? Offensive tackle. Robert Hainesy out of Notre Dame. Definitely more of a developmental guy. I watched him, again, when I was watching Pittsburgh play Notre Dame. I watched Notre Dame's offense quite a bit already. He was their right tackle. So I think that the Chiefs are really looking for, they already drafted a right tackle last year in Niang. They might try him out at left. I'm not entirely sure. Walker Little. This is a guy right now I'm going to go ahead and take. He's got everything you want from, purely from a NFL standpoint. He's big. He's got long arms. He's, like I said, he's 6'7". He's a little bit lighter. He's 309, but so he can move a bit here and there. And Stanford is typically one of your powerhouse running football teams. So he's got some athleticism to him as well, but he's still a bit raw in pass protection and some of the areas like that. So I think this is a good chance for the Chiefs to get a depth piece at left tackle. Maybe try him out there in training camp, see how he does, and maybe he's a backup there. So we're going to take him, allow the Chiefs to really build in their offensive line, get some depth pieces. They're not looking at just at UDFAs and seventh round, later round picks. Yeah, he's a fourth round pick, but again, he has a lot of upside, and he did play at Stanford. I think that there's some pedigree there that helps out. All right, another pick here, 144, still in round 4. Do we have fun with this one? Do we go back to wide receiver? I think that there's some tight ends that they can get later in the draft. But so let's take a look at Anthony Schwartz. Definitely more of an Olympic speed type of guy. He's not going to be a guy on the outside, more of a gadget type that plays in the slot. You get the ball to Hill. Keep saying Travis Kelce, not Hill, and Mecole Hardman. Daz Newsome, bigger, taller guy, 5'11", 6 foot, really more of an outside type. I think that the Chiefs got that, so they might go, if they were to pick here, I think Anthony Schwartz would be an interesting option. All right, I think that they've drafted enough there, and we're going to go ahead and see if we can pick up some more depth pieces, because right now you're in the 4th round, going on day 3 already. Let's get some more depth. What do we got here? Ramondre Stevenson, running backs. Again, edge. What do we got? So far, Landon Dickerson, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yeah, let's go ahead and let's take Smith. I think this is deep enough or early enough we can get him. Like I said, I told you guys, I really like Ellerson Smith out of Northern Iowa. When he bulked up this past season and it didn't reflect poorly on his play, he was much better. At the Senior Bowl, he showed a lot of technique that you want from guys playing on the edge. That length really helps him out, and the added weight is definitely something that Spags likes in this defense, as we all know. So I really like that pick there. Some more depth, probably wide receiver. Since you lose two guys, let's look at wide receiver here. I think Josh out of Illinois, I can't pronounce his last name. I'm going to work on this so that when we're talking about them during the draft, if these guys go off the board, that's something that I'm going to work on so that we can really, really hit it home. And I'm not just stumbling over my words. Yeah, definitely a bigger receiver, 6'2", about 215, 220. I know that there's a lot of guys on Chiefs draft Twitter that really like him. So we're going to go ahead and make them happy and pick him here in the fifth round. I do like some upside guys that can block. In Big Ten football, a lot of running guys that are that big on the outside can block. So let's go ahead and upgrade that there. All right. No more wide receivers. Let's go back to the defensive side of the football. Some interior guys. I know that the Chiefs have still got I'm blanking on his name right now. I can see his face. Noddy, there. Derek Noddy, really more of a one-down player. And once I get more into the defensive line, which I'm planning on doing as soon as I'm done with the wide receivers, I'm going to have more of an idea of guys that can really play on third downs. And that's something that they really have to do. And a lot of these guys are really more just one-dimensional. Michigan State has a lot of really good interior defensive linemen. And I've, as a Michigan fan, I've seen a lot of Michigan State's defense. They're always tough, physical guys with upside. So this is an interesting prospect here. Naquan Jones out of Michigan State. He has all of the size to play on the interior. He's got some weight to him, some mass, and that's something that I really like. Guys with upside down here in the fifth round. Naquan Jones definitely kind of fits what I think the Chiefs want to do. Is they still want to stop the run, but they want guys that have upside in pass rush. Tershawn Wharton is 100% that. He's a guy that can play zero tech, be physical up front, stop the run. He has enough moves in the pass rush to get it done. So we're going to take Naquan Jones here. Someone who's got some upside that they can really teach the game to. Now, this is where we can get a little bit interesting. I think that the Chiefs will bring back Damian Williams. I think he's going to be on the team next year. But do they want Darwin Thompson? That's more of a question we don't really have the answer to. And I think that Darrell Williams is a good back, but ideally you're going to want four guys that can go. Do we want to take a running back down here? Probably not. I'm not taking a running back. I just don't see the Chiefs continuing to go at running back. It's not something that I really think they need to do. And to be honest with you, it's the position that they're fine at running back. They don't need to take another one in this draft. They can get guys off the street, really, to be honest with you, and do stuff there. So let's take a look at corner. I know a lot of people are worried about the corner position going forward. They bring back one of Ward or Breland. I think that they're going to be less likely to take a cornerback. And this is where they, around the time they took their first corner last year and got a stud in L'Jarius Sneed. So we're going to look at some of these players. More of a slot corner here in Trey Brown, a little bit smaller. They have the guys that they want to play in the slot there, and that's just something I'm looking for some height here. Yeah. Shakur Brown out of Michigan State is probably the best bet if they want to take somebody here on this board as it lands. And as we talked about with Michigan State prospects, they're always typically very physical. They like to get in the face of their wide receivers and really use their physicality to do that. And by all accounts, this is exactly the kind of guy that that I just described. And I think that they still need some depth at the corner position, and guys like Brown here that may not have the huge length. For example, he represents more of what Fenton is. He's 6 foot. He's a bit smaller, but he still is very physical. He doesn't have that length, but they like those guys that can play inside and outside. So let's go ahead and take Brown here. I like that prototype for the Chiefs, someone that can play inside and on the outside when they need to, but is still able to do multiple things, because they also use Fenton as a safety, a third safety at times as well. They use that cover 2 slot drop all the time, where they line him up at slot and they bring him back out to play a safety role. So I do like that. And that's an interesting lineup we've got here. I think that what we've done so far with this draft is really some good top end guys, and then we've filled out some depth pieces. We've got some developmental guys, wide receivers that the Chiefs are going to be needing going further. And Walker Little, like I've mentioned, Stanford has that pedigree that you're looking for in offensive linemen. A lot of them come out and be successful in the NFL. I like that aspect. And Wiggins is a guy I'm very high on personally. And that may just be my own image of Cincinnati players, but he's a guy that I really, really like, especially in the 4th round. I think that he's going to be able to come in and play some snaps early on to really get into this defense. And Ellerson Smith, as I gushed over earlier, is definitely a lot of fun for me, and he's just a guy I really like. So top end, really good. And I'm just a big fan of the first 3 or 4 picks of this draft. Like, I think that those are guys that can come in and play right away if they need it to be. So that's just a really nice one for me. So the last pick of this draft, who are we going to pick? Who are we going to go? Somebody who, there's a lot of wide receivers down here, as you can see. Man, that's a lot of wide receivers. It's the deepest position just about in any draft class. So let's look here. Who do we got? Nobody at tight end. Nah. The Chiefs, man, I don't know if they're going to take a tight end in this draft. I'd like them to. It'd be a good pick, but probably could have gone to tight end last round, but no big deal. Tamorrin Terry still on the board? Yep. Throw another wide receiver at it. I like that. Terry is a guy who got huge upside. And really, if you're taking a lot of these picks here, it's a good idea to throw some wide receivers at the wall. Terry has probably some of the most upside in this draft. He's about 6'4", long, has great athleticism. So this is an interesting area to get him as one of the very 2 last picks in the draft. So this is a very solid up and down. Maybe there's a tight end that fits in there somewhere. So you guys let me know when you would really ideally want to take a tight end. Maybe we can work that into the next round. But up and down this draft, I think that I've done a good job of addressing some of the immediate needs at the top and filling out some edge, some depth pieces along the way down. So I think that we've done a good job there. So that will be all for this one. So again, you guys think of anything that you liked in this draft, anything you didn't like, go ahead and let me know. We're going to have a conversation, have a lot of fun. So I hope you enjoyed this. We're going to keep doing this all off season. Ryan and I really love doing mocks, me specifically. So I hope you guys had a great time watching this. It's so much fun to do it, and I enjoy going through this with you guys. Have a great day.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.